right? So the next concept is known as tuple. In tuple is also ordered in nature, but the problem is it is immutable. You can't change them. Suppose you have this is your list, right? In a square bracket we define list, right? Suppose we have a list 5, 25, 36, Python, right? You can change them. Suppose you want to change this 36 to 70. You can do this into a list, right? And list is defined in square bracket. Now if you are creating a tuple, right, a tuple t, right, a tuple with t, then 5, 25, same I am creating 36 Python. It is also heterogeneous in nature, but you can't change this. If you try to change this, you will get the error. And it also have the same indexing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and reverse indexing -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, just like similar to your string and list, but it is immutable. Immutable means you can't change, non-changeable or unchangeable, right? You can't change this. Okay, tuple supports the same slicing, striding syntax like string, right? So you can define a tuple into this parenthesis. So there is a difference. List is defined as in a square bracket, tuple is defined into parenthesis, and dictionary is defined into curly bracket. Dictionary and also set. Now we will see these both tomorrow. Right now we are focusing on tuple. So tuple is immutable. You can't change the values, right? Let's see one more thing. Now in tuple we have a function count, which will count how many times x item occurred into it, occurrence of item. Index will return you the index of x item. Length will return you the length of the tuple. If you want to delete the tuple, you can use del tuple. Tuples are immutable, which means you cannot update or change the values of the tuple elements, right? So let me try this. Okay, now suppose I have created a list, right? And inside list, sorry, this is a tuple, right? This is a tuple. Item 15, 32, 36, string Python, right? And then I have a list inside it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want to change this to. Now I want to change this to. Okay. I want to change this to with 32. So my question is, can I change this?
Yes.
No.
If no or if yes, then why? Whatever your answer.
Because we have a difference.
Immutable.
This is immutable, right? Okay. But this list is mutable. Anyone want to answer this?
Yeah, due to this mutable only we can change it, because it's actually was the address only.
Right. So ultimately it holds the address of this, right? Reference of this. So we can change this, but we can't change these values because these values are inside the list. So here is the answer also for this, right? Lists are mutable, the tuples are immutable. This means that you cannot change values in tuple once you have created it, right? And why we need this? Because at certain places you don't want to change the values. At certain places you don't want to change the values, right? List can't use with a dictionary identifier because you can change them. Tuples can be used as dictionary identifier because these are immutable. You can't change them. So there is another difference. Now if a list is inside a tuple, can I safely change or update the content of that list? Yes, you can see this is one list, this is second list. Now I updated this to 100, it is updated, right? So ultimately I need to see which item I am updating, whether I am updating an immutable item or mutable item. If I am updating a mutable item, then I can change it. All right, so that is the another good question, and this question is generally asked in an interview, right? So that is why we discussed this. Okay, let's, yeah, sure.
Append the value in triple.
What?
We can append the value of in triple.
Yeah, we can't. It will defined only once. It will defined only once. Okay. Let's try, right? If I want to create a tuple T, I have to use this parenthesis, right? 14, 15, 12, and anything, right? Avinash, right? Indore, right? And I have one list inside it, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is your T. Let's check it type, right? It will take a minute because we have just started this. Okay, just wait for a minute. It will go out. Yeah. So now you can check its data type. What is its type? It is a tuple. Okay. Now, if you want to print this, you can also print this T. Right? This is similarly if you try to create a list. Okay, L, same item I am taking, right? I am taking same item. Now if I will check data type of this one also, so it is a list, right? List tuple. So how Python is identifying it? With this square bracket or parenthesis, sorry, control Z, right? So please remember these parenthesis and square bracket, difference of this. Some people who start initially, they don't know Python, they will get confused. So the simple answer of this question is tuple as u, right? So you can see u, you can consider this as a parenthesis, like it is a shape of u at some point, right? If you see list start with L, so L looks like somewhat like a square bracket, right? So that is a trick you can keep in mind, because I have seen lots of students, they write interchangeable in the examination. Sometimes I have seen, right? So please remember this, because they did much practice. Now the question is why we need this tuple if we can't change this. The reason is at certain places you don't want to change the data. You want to keep it constant, right? For example, a variable length argument, right? I will show you what it means, right? For example, when you deal with database, the database will use these tuples to return the data. So the tuples are to keep the data constant, so nobody will change this. You don't want to change the argument of a function, right? You want to keep them as it is. So in that you can use this. So at certain places where we don't want to change the original data, then we will use tuple. Now few functions like length of tuple you can try, right? T dot count you can try. T dot count, suppose I want to count how many times the 12 has occurred. So it occurred only one time, right? If I want to see the index of index of 12, so index of 12 is 2, right? 2. So these are the basic functions. If you now, let me try to update this, right? I want to update this 12 to 36, right? So T at index 2, I want to update this to 36 or 35, right? Now see the error. Type error, tuple object does not support item assignment. Assignment ही नहीं कर सकते. You can't assign anything to this, right? So such kind of error you will get if you try to do assignment operation. All right. So let me take a snapshot of this. this into the slide so that you can't get confused here. Okay, right. Okay, to explain this I can have this, right? If someone will not understand, I can show this example to them. Great. Okay, I am here. Let's move to this tuple. Now append function, similarly if you try append, like append, right, append 5 again. Now this function is not exist for a tuple, so attribute, a tuple object has no attribute append, right? So it does not have this. Now suppose I have a list, right, L. Okay, suppose I have a list name items, right? In this items I have certain items, right? Let me take all these items. Okay, and if I put here inside this, now I want to change this to list, change this to tuple. Now I am doing opposite. I have a list, inside that I have a tuple. Now I want to change this items. First I want to change, okay, 1 2 0 1 2 3 4 5 at 5th place, and the second value, right, it means 3, I want to change this to 23. Error, right? Tuple object does not support item assignment. Okay, now what I will do is items 5 at 5th location, I want to change this with Python, right? Now it will execute. Why? Because this is, I am now changing this complete item. I am replacing this whole tuple. It will, because it is inside list. But if I try to update the internal item, I can't, because tuple, we can't change item inside a tuple, but we can change the item of list, right? So I can replace this. Now if you print items, sorry, by mistake I typed this. Now you can see this tuple has replaced with Python. I can replace the whole tuple, but I can't change the individual item. Anyone has any doubt on this point? I can't change individual item inside the tuple, but I can replace the whole tuple which is inside the list. Right. So these are few concepts which you understand. Interviewer might confuse you. Okay. So I hope you understood this. This is just opposite that we were discussing into the slide. Okay, so this is about tuple. Tuple is very straightforward. Why? Once you know the list, then it is easy to do, right? Okay, let me try one more thing, right? Let me create one tuple with all numeric values, right? 12, 13, 1, 14, 16, and 67 and 23, right? Now let me sort this. Again error, because sort will not work. Okay, now let me try sorted. Sorry, let me try sorted. Let's see what is happening. Now if I want to sort a tuple, I can't use sort function. I have to use sorted, right? And this will returning a, what is this? A tuple or list? Anyone?
New list.
It's a list. So it is returning a list, because it can't change this tuple. So it is returning you a list, a sorted list. If you want, you can do changes into this. Now if you don't want this list, right, you want a tuple, then simple, you just do a typecasting. Typecasting, I hope you know. Typecasting means you are converting one data type into another data type, just like we do for do in case of input function. In input function we were getting a string and we were using the int to convert that string into int. Similarly, you can do like this. Similarly, if you have a tuple, for example, t is a tuple, right? Now I want to change this into list. Simple, I can do this kind of typecasting, right? So this is typecasting, list to tuple, tuple to list. Simple, you just need to do like this, just like we were doing int, right? If we were getting a number into a string, now it will be an int, output will be an int. This is also a typecasting. So here we are doing it for a tuple and list. So this typecasting is important. Why? I will explain you in upcoming session or upcoming things why this is important. At certain places you want to change them, list to tuple, tuple to list. This have very huge application into the whole Python. At certain point you have to do these changes, right? Okay, so this is about the tuple. Any doubt in this, anything that you want to ask? It is a simple topic because if you know list, then it is very simple, it's straightforward, right? An interviewer first question in Python is, what is difference between list and tuple? First question. This is a very favorite and it is most asked question in Python interview. Any of the Python interview, if you go, this is the highly chance they will ask you this question. Highly chance. This is the most asked question in case of Python interview history, right? Everyone asks this question. Very basic question. Iska ratta laga lo, that's it. Right? But if you try to understand, the concept is very simple. Both are same, but the only difference is immutability or mutability. You can change list, but you can't change tuple. So on the ground of this, I came up with this question, and with the help of this question I came up with the opposite question. What if you have a tuple inside list? That is what we discussed here. Sorry, here, right? Here we did just opposite of it, right? Here we were trying to change the item inside list. Yes, we can change this tuple, but we can't change item of tuples. Okay, sort will not work here, sorted will work, and you can do typecasting like this.